Hey everyone, well, I thought I'd do a bit of a garden update on my garden. I haven't done one for a while, and it's late September. It's spring here on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And this is the garden at the moment. I've acquired quite a few more plants, usually free ones and cuttings, and I'll show them to you. But it's really, from what it started off as, it's really filled out quite a lot. So I'll just show it to you. So this is the garden. It's doing all right now. It's looking nice and lush. So there's a few plants cuttings that I've taken that are now flowering. I've got this iris here that's looking nice. That's a wandering iris. So it sends out these droopy things and they droop down. And oop, there goes a lizard. Oh, that's good. Love seeing wildlife. There's a family of lizards that lives in here. They're only little ones, they're more like skinks. So there's a family of skinks that lives in here. And yeah, they help control the bugs and everything, so that's good. But as you can see, there's still everything in pots. So I told you last time that this garden, it's so overly rooted from this golden cane palm here. The root system's really bad. And with the other trees here in this small section, the root systems of the ground here, it's really, you can't dig a hole in the ground. You cannot dig a hole. So the only option that I had was to leave everything in its pots. And because there's mulch on the ground, then the roots, I'm hoping, will come out the bottom of the pots and then just root in and then grow out of the pots. So that's my sort of option at the moment. Have a look at this here. Here's a bromeliad flower. They send up these big stalks. This is a dead one, but they are really nice. They're really nice and pink. Oh gee, they're sharp too. They got thorns on them. Man, that's the only bad thing about some of these bromeliads, is they have these thorns on them that absolutely dig right into you, so you've got to be careful. That's why I try to get the ones that don't have the thorns on them, if you can. It just makes life a whole lot easier. But I picked up quite a few plants recently. I've got lots of orchids. So a lady that a friend of mine, she was selling her house and she was throwing out a whole lot of orchids and a whole lot of plants, so I put my hand up to take them. I've stuck one in the tree up here, so in like 10 years time hopefully that'll fill out there and they get a really nice pink flower. I'll show you one of the flowers later. But yeah, everything's still in the pots. You probably noticed this path here. It's a path to go out, but what I did was I had some paper bark. There's a paper bark tree up the road and it was shedding all its bark, so I took some of the bark just to and I thought, oh, I might be able to use it for something, so I just cut it up and just to define the path a little bit, except that the birds keep coming along and lifting it up to get the bugs that are living underneath. So let's see if I can find something here. There's a bit of a funny looking worm thing there. There's a few little bugs and things that live under these things. So the birds come and pick those up and try and eat them. I love these wandering irises. They're really good and they grow really nice and thick. The orchids coming out. So that's nice. Gee, they're hard to make flower, those things. I've decided that leaving it outside in the garden amongst other plants, I'm a firm believer that if your plants like other plants and they thrive amongst other plants, so if you've got one that's sitting alone and it's not doing well, stick it in with other plants and it might help improve. So I've got all these things. Don't ask me what their names are. I've got a pineapple there in the pot. They prefer full sun, but it's doing all right in the pretty much full shade there. So this plant here, so this is rooted into the ground. It's a cordyline, nice red one. That's rooted into the ground there, so which is good, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. You'll notice all these fishbone ferns. Everyone hates, a lot of people hate them. I actually really like them myself because it really does make your garden look really lush. And they're really easy to pull up. If you don't want one in a certain area, just pull it up and get rid of it, throw it away. Here's some some flowers that I just took the little thing off. Oh, that one's just fallen off. These are good. If you ever see these growing, and then they're full of seeds, this thing here, and then you just take the seeds home. Oops, it's not really focusing. And then you just throw them in the dirt and then they grow all on their own. They're really good and easy to grow. Now I've only spent, in this garden, I probably spent $20 on plants, and these were my latest ones that I just bought. Again, I've just left them in the pots. There's mulch here, so I just buried them in the pots. I could probably just let those sit on the top of the ground, and they'd grow all right, but I'll just leave them in the pots. Here's this orchid. Now this one's really big, and it's probably 20 years old. Still in the pot there. It's funny, it only seems to be flowering at the front where it gets the most light. So it's probably one of these orchids that does like a lot of light, and it'll only flower where there's a lot of light, but we'll wait and see. I don't like putting orchids in full sun because they don't really take it. What's this thing? It's a funny looking wasp. Ooh. Won't get too close. Oh, there it goes. Oh, geez. This was a cutting. I just reached over someone's fence and snapped that off. They didn't need it. They had heaps of them. But I just stuck that one in the ground, and it's doing really well now. Hopefully that'll grow up there and you know, stop people from looking in that window. But it's nice and lush. I mean, you can't see my unit like from the outside area, outside path. It's pretty well hidden. So it's got some nice flowers on it at the moment. There's always flowers. The best thing about living here is it always flowers. There's flowers all the time. Oh, what's this? My oh god, what are these names? I'll think of it soon. Just sending up some new leaves. Hibiscus, no, it's not hibiscus. Yeah, frangipani, Singapore frangipani, which aren't supposed to lose leaves, apparently, but they do everywhere other than if you live in the full-on tropics. They drop their leaves. I've got another palm tree here, foxtail, which I've just left in the pot, and hopefully that'll root into the ground, and it'll stay small that way because it won't, if the ground's too full of roots, it's not going to be able to grow to its full potential, so it'll be like bonsai pretty much. But this is my little entrance now, walking up through the garden to the house. It's going all right. Now the watering system seems to only be watering the path, which it comes on at like 4 AM, so it's really hard to, and I can't adjust it. I mean, I can adjust this little areas, but I can't turn it on or off because it's for the complex, it's an automatic one, so it's a bit tough trying to do all that sort of stuff unless I wake up at 4:30 AM and come out. So I just got to guesstimate that. So around here I've just put some plants that this one here that doesn't really require a lot of water. I sort of stuck that in that area because no water gets there, but I do have a watering can which I water things that need it. I I picked up these from a garage sale, just some hanging pots for $2 each. So I thought, oh well, might as well have some plants up there as well for $2. You can't go wrong. So something else we've been doing lately is getting cuttings from succulents. So these are just some, wherever we walk past one, we see one we like, we think, oh, let's take a leaf out of that one. So we just take the leaf and then stick it on some dirt here and just let them do their things. I probably water them once every week. I'll just sort of sprinkle them with a bit of water. And yeah, so that one there's growing. That one there's got a little bit of a root. This one here's got a bit of a root there growing. But here's some more. They're all just doing their little thing, slowly but surely. It's only been probably a couple of weeks for those sort of still doing it. These are different ones, so if we see some good ones, we just sort of take a cutting and just stick them in the dirt. Like here, this was in a restaurant garden. I just snapped a bit off and stuck it in the dirt there, and it's growing now. It's shooting out some new leaf out there. And this one here, this here was actually, I think it's a Thai basil, but this was a garnish when we went to a Thai restaurant. This was actually a garnish on the food. So what we did was we brought it home, just stuck it in some water for a couple of days just to rehydrate it, and then stuck it in the soil, and now it's growing with flowers on it and everything. So yeah, it's pretty good, growing something from garnish. And some more succulents there, and I've got this one here growing there. So that's the garden at the moment. It's looking really lush and nice. It hasn't rained here for probably, I don't know, 3 months or 2 months, but it has got the watering system on it. So once it starts raining again in the summertime, yeah, this will hopefully explode quite a bit more, and yeah, start looking even lusher than it already is. So that'll be good. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.